Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. This is JE Live, coming to you live from the Rams 24-9 loss in San Francisco. Um, yeah, that happened. Hope everyone's doing well, or as well as you can be doing after that. If you're a Niner fan, congratulations on your victory. Um, the Rams, they had literally every opportunity to win that game. And, you sit there and you're like, yeah, it's frustrating. Very frustrating, right? And it's frustrating because they still had a shot. They, the whole time they were in it. And, it's not even to make excuses, but it's like this team dealing with only two starters on their offensive line healthy. It's like, what do you even do? You can sit there and you can criticize the play calling, like for me. You can sit there and you can criticize the play calling all you want, but like, what do you expect Stafford to do when he's getting pressured literally every play? I don't think Stafford has been pressured this much since joining the Rams. It has been brutal. And really, it's been two games, the Bills and the 49ers. Now, for those of you who are hitting the panic button, it's way too early, right? It's week 4. For those of you who are a little concerned, like I am, that's fair. Okay, look, this is not a Super Bowl team right now, but nobody in week 4 is a Super Bowl team. We're going to go through this. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the entire game. I'll answer questions, comments, concerns, hang out with you, all that. But I just, it's very frustrating because I don't come away from this Niners team and think, wow, this offense was so good. No. I look at this Niners team and think their offense, was pretty ordinary. Like the Rams had every opportunity. The defense stopped them. And in parts of the game, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, the Rams are like outplaying them even. But it's just one of those, it's one of those games, man, where, we've seen it before and they're going up against the Niners and, they don't match up well and all that. Well, tough. You got to win those games. The interception by Stafford, that sucks, right? I think that stems to not diversifying the offense. I think it stems to the fact that they're just throwing to Cooper Kupp. Obviously Tyler Higbee's getting involved a little bit, and he's been fun to watch. That chemistry is definitely there. But it's just, you get Allen Robinson, you talk about all like, oh, can't wait to use him, all this. You get me hyped, you get all the fan base hype, and it's like, what has Allen Robinson been able to do? Is it him? Is it the fan base? NHL insignia. No. All right. There we go. All right. Not a 49ers fan. No, don't even. It's the Devils. But no, I just, you look at this game and there are many opportunities. What I think when I look at this game by the Rams, it's very easy to say, oh, and I said this during the pretty much 7 shows I was a part of this week talking about this game. Oh, well, the 49ers, they stopped the run. You can't run against them. Well, that's not how football works, okay? These are NFL players. They're not going to just be like, yep, we can't run the ball because, like they gave it a shot and they didn't continue. And, Darrell Henderson ran for 3.9 yards per carry. That's not great, almost 4 yards per carry, with a bunch of backups in an offensive line. Cam Akers went 8 of 13, which is 1.6 yards per carry. Really, what they should have done is stuck to the run, and they should have stuck to running the ball with Henderson. Malcolm Brown did not get a carry. He was active, didn't get a carry. I like what they did with Brandon Powell, but they didn't really go back to that. The offense is pretty ordinary. Stafford was sacked 7 times for a loss of 54 yards total. That's more than half of a football field. You look at Cooper Kupp coming away with 14 catches for 122 yards. Tyler Higbee, 10 for 73. Ben Skoranek, 2 for 33 on 3 targets. Allen Robinson, 2 for 7. It's concerning. It's definitely concerning. You want to see more for sure. As far as the way this game went, the Rams, like I said, They beat the Niners out in first downs. They beat them in time of possession. Pretty much what you just saw, the Rams were the Arizona Cardinals that we saw last week. I mean, if the shoe fits, am I right? 73 plays and could not score a touchdown with Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, Allen Robinson, Tyler Higbee. They could not score a touchdown. Not ideal. Not ideal. Now, a big reason why the 49ers were able to win this game is because of the explosive plays, and the Rams do not have any in this game. They had zero. No plays went for 20 yards. So that's a problem. Turnovers are a problem. Not jumping on the fumble at the end of the game. The game might have been over, sure, but there's no urgency there. The one drive where they let him go down the field and then gave up the field goal, I mean, you know. Anyway, it's very frustrating. Anytime you lose to a rival, you know, 2 of 2 on fourth down, whatever. Look, okay, if you want me to sit here and give up on this team and say they're not going to win the Super Bowl in week 4, then you've come to the wrong YouTube channel, because that's not me. Am I the one that, you know, is you know, straight up homer? I mean, a bug flew in my in my glasses. Am I one of those that are straight up homer? No. I am a little bit more optimistic than some, but I am not a straight up homer about this team. As a matter of fact, I get a lot of blowback when I do criticize this team. But when you look at this team as of right now, do you feel like they can win a Super Bowl? No. And that'll change, because I think this team is going to make adjustments. I know they're going to. This is going to cause a stir in the organization in a good way, because you have these injuries, and you've seen now that the Rams, now they're 2-2. And say what you will, I mean, in a way, it's almost impressive, because like during these injuries, right, all this stuff going on, they're still in this game. They got to stop. Let's not forget, they got to stop. It was 17-9. They're driving down the field to potentially tie it. And then disaster strikes. So it's like you want to be upset, obviously. But at the same time, I didn't really hate some of the stuff that happened, because, I mean, they were in it at the end. They blew it, but they were in it at the end. Stafford, yeah, probably shouldn't throw that. It's easy to kind of sit on the bubble screen because, well, you're not diversifying the offense at all. We know you're going to go to Cooper Kupp. You've gone to him 19 times tonight. He had 19 targets, caught 14 of them. But, you know, I just, right now, the Rams, there's going to be a lot made about them. But, I mean, right now they've lost 2 games. They've won 2 games. They beat a Falcons team that looks decent. I mean, they're 2-2, and they've been in every single game. You look at Arizona, I don't think Arizona's very good. You look at the Niners, I think the Niners are a good team, but I'm not sold on them being a great team. They have a great matchup against the Rams, but man, some of those tackles, like if they just make some of those tackles on Deebo Samuel on that run, the whole game changes. And even still, they didn't feel dominant in this one. That's the thing that frustrates me. Because the score 24-9 doesn't really sit well with me. It should have been 17-9. You know, the way they played. Or, you know, it should have been 17 I mean, they should have scored a touchdown at the very least. So, you know, I think that there's a lot to be concerned with. I also think there's some good things to take away. I thought the offensive line played hard despite the fact that, I mean, you're down to preseason starter Jeremiah Colon at right guard. You got your backup, Alaric Jackson, who continues to play pretty solid football. Bobby Evans wasn't great, but, you know, he's playing every single snap at left guard. Then you have Noteboom, and you have Rob Havenstein. They have a lot of injuries right now. They do. And when you have 3 of your 4 corners out, you hold this team to 17 points, you would think you'll win. The offense is the issue right now. It's not the defense. So, while, yeah, they missed a tackle here, they missed a tackle there, they frustrated me, all of that. Man, I'm more concerned about the offense right now, which luckily, if the defense was struggling, I think that's harder to fix. The offense is struggling. November came early. What if November came early? What if there are nasty Novembers happening early on in the year? I mean, you got to get right back on it. This upcoming week, you're playing Dallas on a short week. That team, that defense, very similar to the Niners, actually, because they got a defense that is ferocious, and they got a quarterback that's a game manager that can, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, can give you a win. So you got that, then you got the Carolina Panthers. But you got to focus on Dallas next, and that could be an interesting game. I don't know what where that'll go. But yeah, it is frustrating though, for sure. And I'm not out on Stafford. I know everybody's ready to throw Stafford in a pit of fire. But I'm not, and yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It really is. I mean, I don't have all the answers. This is just my reaction after the game, and I'm doing my best to give you a reaction. It is frustrating as hell. I'm sitting here like really toned down because I was not happy with this outcome. You're gonna win the game fine, but I mean, 24-9, the way they lost it, but. That's... Yeah, you know what I'll say about that, though? I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble or say anything mean or anything, but Takk McKinley has been on this team for like 2 weeks. Okay? Justin Hollins was a key part in bringing a Lombardi to LA. So the last thing I'm doing... I don't care what was said. I don't care about the tension. I don't care. The last thing I'm doing if I am Takk McKinley or anybody who just joined a roster that won the Super Bowl is going after one of those guys that helped them win a Super Bowl. That's the last thing I'm personally doing. So, I don't know. What I'm looking at here, let's go through it. Offense. Stafford, you start with him. Interceptions, sure, they're somewhat of an issue, right? That play with Hufanga, should he have thrown it? No. Was it a bad play design? Was it a bad decision with Kupp? And yeah, it was. Because it was easy to read because you're only going to Kupp in this game, 19 targets. He had 14 to Higbee. But everyone else, I mean, Henderson had 4. Blanton had 1. Robinson had 6. Cam Akers had 1. Ben Skowronek had 3. I mean, I think Stafford is fine. I think you look, and I know the narrative will be like, well, Stafford's elbow. It's all about his elbow. No. It's not about his elbow, okay? It's about the fact that he was sacked 7 times in this game. He was sacked 8 times to start the season, I'm pretty sure, against the Bills. Look, okay? The offensive line is going through it right now. They're going to get healthier, hopefully. And hopefully this Coleman Shelton thing isn't a serious end-of-the-road injury. But as of right now, when you look at this offensive line, you want to tell me Garoppolo would be fine back there? No. You want to tell me Brady would be fine back there? Oh, hell no. No. You pressure Brady, you hit him in the mouth, and he becomes ordinary. You want to tell me Rodgers would be good back there? No. Here's the thing. Okay? No quarterback under this amount of pressure from the defense is going to be able to sit there and make plays. Stafford was literally pressured like every play. I mean, his 71 passer rating, 7 sacks, the length of more than half of a football field. The fact that he threw for 254 yards is surprising in itself. Niners had a great game plan. The Rams, unfortunately, early on in the game, lose their starting center. They're already down. They're already down Allen. They're already down Edwards. It's like, it sucks, and I hate it, but, I mean, they were dealt a bad deck early on, and they came back and stayed in the game, mainly because Matthew Stafford led a few really nice drives that unfortunately didn't result in getting touchdowns. So now we move on to the running backs, okay? Stafford's not an issue, okay? He's not. You give him time to throw, even a little bit more time. He can deal with pressure, but when he's getting hit, like when he gets the ball, not going to work. But the running backs here, Darrell Henderson, 7 carries, 27 yards, 3.9 yards per carry average. Why he's not running the ball more is beyond me. Cam Akers went 8 for 13 in this game, 1.6 yards per carry average in the game. He has not had a better yards per carry average than Henderson. It's not that I'm anti-Akers. It's that I want the better running back in there, and I want them to run the ball. I don't know why they don't run the ball. You can say all you want, oh, the 49ers had it telegraphed the whole game. Great, but they need to run the ball. Okay, the run blocking for this offensive line was not bad. It wasn't great, but it was serviceable enough to be able to get something going. But they abandoned it. There's no reason Henderson should have 7 carries. Akers had 8 carries. There's no reason for it. None. So right now the running backs could use some juice, but as in like using them. I don't think it's the running back's fault. You have to understand there's not a Gurley, okay? There's not a Gurley. There's not a Saquon Barkley. There's not a Christian McCaffrey. There's not Kareem Hunt. None of those guys are coming, okay? This running back room is fine. They need to run the ball. They need to commit. You can't get into a rhythm if you don't commit. And when you have a guy that's clear cut, the better back, and you do not commit to him, and you have him come into pass protect, and then you put Akers in, you run up the gut, and he runs in the back of an offensive lineman, loses 2 yards. You put Henderson back in, and now he's running out of the shotgun on a 2nd and 12. That's not getting him into a rhythm. You can't do that. So the run game is non-existent, is not ever going to hit 100 yards for any of these guys because they abandon it like crazy. This game was a 1-score game. The run game should not have been abandoned. They were dominating time of possession anyway with the short passing. The run game should not have been abandoned. Period. So now we go to the wide receivers. Wide receivers, you got Cooper Kupp. Nothing wrong with Cooper Kupp. Guy checks the boxes, clearly is that guy, right? 14 catches on 19 targets for 122 yards. I mean, that was the 49ers game plan. They let him have all his yards, but they didn't get him in the end. He wasn't in the end zone. So that worked out well for them. But Kupp is not an issue. Next, Ben Skoranek. Now, people were like, why didn't they use Ben Skoranek at fullback more? Here's why they didn't use Ben Skoranek at fullback more. Because the offensive line it gave him no room. You can't have a lead blocker if he can't get in there and the offensive line is being pushed back into him, which then pushes the fullback back into Matthew Stafford. You can't have that. So, sorry, out of the question, not happening. We move on. So, Skoranek was fine. 2 catches, 33 yards. Yeah, he had a drop over the middle. Wouldn't have been a big gain anyway. Don't care. Darrell Henderson, 3 catches for 12 yards. Not sure why they're not using him more. He's running the 2nd most routes in the league behind Joe Mixon at running back. I don't know why he's not being utilized more in the passing game. Use him more. Kendall Blanton, a catch for 7 yards that they whistled down and he actually broke out of and probably got the first down. Whatever. Allen Robinson, 2 catches, 7 yards. Is this Robinson's fault? Is this Stafford's fault? Is this Sean McVay's fault? I don't even know. But the bottom line is, if you do not get Allen Robinson involved soon, It's going to be ugly. And I know the Rams needed extra roster spots, but they could use Van Jefferson tomorrow. Someone's going to have to step up because Skoranek has, okay? Skoranek has. He's had back-to-back solid games. I'm not saying 2 for 33 is great, but he averaged 16.5 yards per reception. Cam Akers had 1 target, if you could call it that, in the passing game. And then you had Tyler Higbee, of course, who goes for 10 for 73 on 14 targets. Higbee now on the season has 38 targets. Okay, he's second on the team in targets, and it's not close. The way I see it is this team has plenty of weapons. They have a fantastic quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And this offensive line, I can't even say it is bad, because at the end of the day, what even is this offensive line? What offensive line are we calling bad? There's 2 starters that are actively playing on this offensive line right now. 2. They're down to a backup right guard who's typically a tackle. They're down to the 3rd string center, and they're down to a backup guard who's technically a tackle. Wouldn't call that their starting offensive line. So therefore, I wouldn't say that the offensive line is bad, because this isn't even the offensive line they're supposed to have. They didn't go into the league. They didn't go into the new year like Bobby Evans at left guard, yes. Jeremiah Colon at center, yes. Alaric Jackson at right guard, yes. They did not do that. That's what happened, right? So Stafford, I think, is fine. I think the running backs are fine. They just can't abandon the run. I don't believe in... AK, I got to disagree. Stafford's arm is fine. There's nothing wrong with Stafford's arm. And I just don't agree with that every pass is flopping around nonsense, though. Like I said, Stafford literally was under pressure every single throw. I mean, I don't know how you could blame it on Stafford. Sure, he had the interception. But, I mean, every throw, Stafford is getting pressure. I couldn't blame Stafford for that. I couldn't blame him for that. 0 passing touchdowns the last 2 games. Yeah, he has 0 passing touchdowns the last 2 games because you had a drop in this one in the end zone. He actually tried to fit it in twice, had 2 drops. You had a drop to Allen Robinson last week, point blank. You had a drop to Cooper Kupp, okay? And then you had a fumble by Cam Akers at the goal line. That's 21 points that weren't scored because of that. Stafford's not the problem. And I already see it. I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm just going to say this. I don't care how good the Lions look. They're 1-3 right now, and Jared Goff is not better than Matthew Stafford. So please, with that, stop that. let's pump the brakes there. The Real A-Dog, thank you so much for donating. For whatever reason, my comments are not working. I keep highlighting them, and because of technical issues per usual, with anything, it's not highlighting them. So I'm trying to highlight, but I don't know, man. I appreciate you donating. I like the way Brandon Powell ran the ball out of the backfield, and after that good run, McVay didn't use him anymore the entire game. Yep. Pretty much. Fun, right? I mean, I love McVay. I'm not crapping all over McVay. I mean, he's definitely capable, and it's only week 4. But it is painful. Okay? And it's painful for me because, now you have all these people saying it's Stafford's fault. Like, guys, Stafford, the offensive line that he was playing behind this game, he didn't take snaps. How about Jeremiah Colon? Guy didn't fumble a snap. He didn't have a bad snap the whole game. He didn't take snaps from Jeremiah Colon at any point during practice, during training camp, any point. That guy never took snaps from Jeremiah Colon. and he had to go right in there and play in a pinch. It's not on Stafford. I mean, and it's like, even with the spreading the ball around, I don't even think that's him, though. I feel like that's more of how the offense is right now. And you got to do what works, man, you know? It sucks, but it's like, ugh. Yeah, God, no Galladay. You can't function with the offensive line being a bunch of backups. I agree. So we talked about the offensive line. How do you fix that? Well, unfortunately, you don't have Corbett. Maybe Whitworth comes back if it gets bad enough. Surprisingly, the only guys that are healthy are your two tackles, who are always hurt. So that probably is not a good sign. So there's not really a lot that the Rams can do right now. They'll probably figure it out, but, you know, offensive line has to get better. And they were fine against Arizona. The problem is Shelton gets hurt, and now you have to, it's a continuity thing, you know? By the way, thank you for donating. I forgot to let you know. Thank you for donating as well. Oh, the real A-Dog. Thank you. The same way the 49ers use Debo, I think the Rams should try using Brandon Powell as a running back more. I agree. Why not, you know? He has no time to throw. None. Here's the thing. In simple terms, for those of you who want simple terms for me to describe it, Matthew Stafford cannot throw deep downfield because plays aren't developing quick enough with the amount of pressure that is getting to Stafford. So the 49ers were getting to Stafford before the guys downfield were finishing their routes. I mean, what can Stafford do at that point? You're going to throw short, and that's what he had to do. Simple as that. Let's see. Okay. Offensive line, we talked about that. Now you move on to the defense. What's going on with the defense? Well, I thought the defense played well. I know people are going to complain. Yeah, you know, bend don't break and all that. I don't think they were anywhere near on the level of last week. The bend don't break. By the way, the 49ers only ran 49 plays. The Rams ran 73. The Rams had 34 time possession to the 49ers 25-26. So the Rams actually ran a pretty good game plan as far as holding on to the ball the whole game. The problem is they didn't score touchdowns, and the 49ers got those explosive plays on a few of those drives. But in total, I think the Rams, in a sense, kind of outplayed the Niners a little bit because I think the defense was pretty solid. Like I said, you know, besides those really big splash plays, they were pretty solid tonight. You know, there are definitely some issues on the defense that we could go over, and we'll go over it in painstaking detail on Wednesday when the All-22 drops. But, you know, Bobby Wagner overruns the gap, and then, of course, you get the easy touchdown run. I think he went untouched. Jeff Wilson. Then, you know, in addition to that, right, so, you know, Jeff Wilson goes untouched. You get the Deebo Samuel play where he breaks like every tackle. So that's frustrating. You know, and then, you know, Aaron Donald had a really good game, although he didn't get any sacks. Garoppolo did not get sacked once. Like, the guy has everything handed to him. If he doesn't turn the ball over, he'll win the majority of his games because the defense is top 5 in the league, and the offense is ordinary. I mean, the defense scored a touchdown for him. The defense scored a touchdown, and the Rams couldn't even score a touchdown. I'm not going to say the game was rigged. I don't buy that. Exactly, and it goes back to the old days of the Sosar Rams. I used to sit here and defend Sam Bradford, defend Austin Davis, defend Case Keenum. I mean, it's like, I mean, here's the thing, okay? What can you expect those guys to do when they don't have an offensive line? But aside from that, I just going back, I think the defense played really well, actually. Jeffrey Wilson, he had 74 yards. 32 of that came on one carry. You take away the 32 yards, by the way, you know what he had? 42 yards on 17 carries. So that one bad play. Think about that. Jeff Wilson was ordinary. He had 17 carries for 42 yards. He had that one play that he just broke. That was the factor. That was a 32-yard run. Then you go Deebo Samuel. You take away the 57-yard touchdown. He's got 5 receptions, and he's got a little bit over 50 yards. 60 yards, maybe. Like, I mean, the Rams' defense gave up those big plays, the 35-yarder to Kyle Juszczyk, which is obnoxious. But at the end of the day, like, they played well. They held George Kittle to 2 catches for 24 yards. Ayuk did nothing. 4 catches, 37 yards. So Deebo had a good game because of the 57-yarder, but if you look, it's just, So it's frustrating, yeah. It is. 100%. 100% frustrating. And I am not saying that they don't deserve blame. Also, no idea, I have no idea why they wore that uniform combination. They were asking for it. But to sit here and act like this is all Stafford's fault or anyone's fault for that, rather, I just can't subscribe to that. Well, I would rather have Robert Woods because, keep in mind, I was high on A-Rob coming in. I still am because if they get on the same page, they're going to blow up. But while I was high on A-Rob coming in, I was high on him because of the opportunity it presented the Rams. He's the first of his kind. The Rams don't use him. They don't use him, and they don't throw deep balls up to him. They throw these, like, very minimally catchable balls they throw to him. And I watched Robert Woods last year, and I'm like, people forget, man, Robert Woods, like, because Cooper Kupp's season was so good, people forget Robert Woods was literally on pace for over 1,000 yards, despite the fact that Cooper Kupp was on pace for over 2,000. Robert Woods was having a good year before he tore his ACL. He's a really good player. I think really what it comes down to is they just don't know how to use they don't know how to use Allen Robinson. It's not Robinson's fault, but they don't know how to use him. But at the same time, guys, this is not the offense. We know this isn't their offense. This isn't. I'm just saying, just wait until Van Jefferson comes back. Then we'll know what their offense is. That does give an opportunity for these guys to get healthy, too. Now, here's the good news, okay? The good news is it's week 4. The good news is you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys next week, whether Dak or Cooper Rush play. You have good success against the Cowboys, right? Those are good things. You're at home again, so this road trip's over. Another good thing. You're not playing the Niners next week. Hey, we'll take all we can get, right? There's a plus. Van Jefferson, it's another week closer to Van Jefferson coming back. Good thing. Another good thing. David Edwards does not have an injury. I kept seeing people incorrectly spreading that shit. He doesn't have an injury. David Edwards has a concussion or potential concussion because he was foggy. He was feeling foggy and self-reported it. So he was out for this game, but it does not mean he's out for the next game and forever. Okay? So he could be back next week. And right now, David Edwards, you would take him the way he is right now, probably. So these are good things. Another good thing, Alec Jackson getting all this playing time. A lot of experience there. A lot of experience for the third string center, who I don't think was absolutely terrible. I don't think he was great, but I do not think Cologne was terrible. Another good thing, next week, If the offensive line is a little bit better than this week, Ben Skoranek can start playing fullback again. Like I said, you can't play fullback when the pressure is literally hitting you in the face and pushing you into Stafford. They had to cut that. And this could finally be the game that really pushes them to reevaluate what they're doing and focus more on running the ball. They could also make a trade. They could shake things up. I think it's too early to do that, but I don't know. Maybe they make a trade. Right now, the defense isn't the issue, though. They gave up 17 this game. They gave up 12 last game. And the last game, before that, I mean, they had their moments, but the defense has not been an issue. It's been the offense. The offense is this close to having 21 points last week. The offense this week, moving the ball against a team. That was another encouraging thing. Say what you will about this offense, but they're moving the ball, okay, with 2 of their 5 starters available. No time for Stafford to throw, and they're still moving the ball down the field against one of the best defenses in football, and gave them a chance at the very end to win. And they didn't, and that sucks, and the score is not going to indicate that. But they moved the ball with a third-string center, with a backup guard, another backup guard. And, I mean, that offense that was about as ordinary as Sean McVay's offense has ever looked, and they were still moving the ball. And he was sacked 7 times, and they still had a chance at the very end. Think about that. He was sacked 7 times. The offensive line had all backups in, a ton of backups in, and they're still moving the ball down the field. And, by the way, they didn't establish the run like I said they should. They ran the ball 18 times for 57 yards, and that was it. So they didn't have a run game. The passing game was all Cooper Kupp. And they're still running, they're moving the ball on this great defense that's top 5 in the league in just about everything. And no one's talking about that. And you know why? Because that, my friends, doesn't paint the narrative. It all goes back to Stafford. All goes back to the quarterback. Because when you are sitting there at your desk at ESPN or Fox Sports 1 or whatever, you have to evaluate every single team, right? So you have to cover every single team. And you are sitting there and you're like, the easiest way to do that is just talk about the quarterback. That's why before the game, when Larry Fitzgerald and other guys were talking about why the 49ers will beat the Rams, no one brought up the Rams have injuries on their offensive line and they have 3 out of the top 4 corners out. No, they didn't bring that up. They were just like, yeah, the 49ers would beat them because they're more physical. I'm like, you had the easiest thing ever. The Rams were banged up to all hell. So, I don't know. The way I see it, to me, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. This is a hatred, arch rival. You want to win, you do, but it's week 4. They're 2-2. And if you think I'm crazy right now, this is the NFL this year. Okay? There's only one 4-0 team. So that means there's teams, there's only one record besides 4-0 that's ahead of the Rams record. So let's go through the NFL right now. The Rams would be out of the playoffs as of right now. Just outside. They would be the 8th seed. Okay? Right now, the NFC, number 1 Eagles at 4-0. Number 2, Vikings at 3-1. Number 3, Tampa at 2-2. Number 4, San Francisco at 2-2. Number 5, Dallas at 3-1. Number 6, New York Giants at 3-1. Number 7, 3-1 Packers, who just barely beat a Patriots team in Lambeau with Bailey Zappi at quarterback. It took them till the overtime period to win that game. Rams are 8, then Arizona, then the Falcons, then Seattle, then the Bears. They're all tied with 2-2. Guess who else is 2-2? the Jaguars, the Browns, the Bengals, the Titans, the Ravens, the Jets, the Chargers, the Broncos. It's week 4. There's a chance next week with Tua Tagovailoa out, the other team I cover, the Jets, are going to go 3-2. There's a solid chance they go 3-2. And there is a somewhat outside chance the Rams fall below 500 for the second time this season and the second time ever in Sean McVay's career. There's a chance. But guess what? They play 17 games. That doesn't make it okay to lose, but they play 17 games. They get another shot at the Niners pretty soon. It's going to be at SoFi. I mean, I'm just saying. It's way too early. Way too early to write this team off. What if I told you that there's not one single Super Bowl team in the NFL right now? Because you got to earn that. You don't just become a Super Bowl team. This is why I hate the whole let's crown the Bills. And then, let's feel sorry for the Bills because they're going through injuries. Yeah, hate to break it to you, but the Rams had to take Eric Weddle of retirement. Half their team was missing in the Super Bowl. You have to get through it. That's what that's just the name of the game. At least for me. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We have 58 likes in here. We're almost at 300 viewers. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It does help out the channel, but it also gets people to come over here because YouTube sees it and they're like, oh, yeah, that's a party. Okay, I'll start sending our viewers over there. Think about it. So, let's get those likes up. 77. Yeah, let's get through the roof. Let's get to 200. I know we can do it. While we're getting it to 200, as we move it up to 200, look, this is the Rams schedule as of right now, right? They're not, so we know they're not going 16-1. They're probably not going 15-2. But, I mean, here's how it goes. They got the Cowboys at SoFi, the Panthers at SoFi, the 49ers at SoFi. They win 2 of those 3 games, okay? 2 of them. They are 4-3. So, that would mean 4-3. Buccaneers, they've had the Buccaneers number, say 5-3. Cardinals 6-3. Saints don't look very good. 7-3. Say you drop the Chiefs 7-4. Seattle 8-4. Raiders 9-4. Say you drop Packers 9-5. Broncos 10-5. Say you lose to the Chargers. I'm just putting it out there 10-6. And then you're at Seattle to end the season, probably 11-6 or 10-7. And that's just me just saying, right? Like, oh yeah, just say that. Just let's do that. But they could easily win 14 games, 13 games, 12 games. It's not crazy to assume that they could rip off wins. There's way too much negativity here. I understand you're frustrated. I'm frustrated too. You know, keep in mind, I have to stay up on the East Coast. It's my job, but I got to stay up on the East Coast. I mean, it's midnight right now. I mean, I love talking with you guys, but man, definitely tests you when you you have to go live and talk about a loss. Really tests you, but hey, that's what we do here. Let's get those likes up, 94. Let's get them, let's shoot right through 200. It's free. Just hit the thumbs up button, and there you go. There's your like. It's all good after that. I always have to remind people because, man, I'm one of those people, if I miss a like, I'll go back to the video and like it. I know how much likes matter on YouTube, so, you know, it's just one of those things. The best thing about tonight, can we all agree, Bobby Wagner? Man, Bobby Wagner decking, I could not love that anymore. Bobby Wagner decking the stupid protester was probably the highlight of the night. I don't care what anyone says. I absolutely loved it. I would watch it all over again. I don't care. I don't like protesters, okay? You're at a live sports event. You know, I don't care if it's non-violent. I don't care if it's peaceful. That's not peaceful. Going on the field and that's not peaceful. And no one knows what you're protesting. So going on Twitter and saying, oh, those protesting like that, I don't give a shit, okay? You deserve to get decked by Bobby Wagner. If you missed it, you can find it on my channel. I actually put a YouTube short together about it. Oh my God, you guys are mean about Troy Reader, man. They showed it over on the Manning cast, so I grabbed that and made a YouTube short out of it. Oh, it was great. It was great. I disagree. I mean, Tampa looks ordinary, man. The Rams, I mean, like, they had a chance to win tonight. They didn't, but they had a chance to, despite all their injuries. How do you think they're going to fare when they get healthy? Like, Van Jefferson is going to be massive for this offense. We're going to see it right away. His ability to stretch the field will open things over the middle. Right now, these guys are having a hard time getting separation. You look at Cooper Kupp, guys are right on him. He's just making catches. But make no mistake about it. When you have Van Jefferson going up the seam, you now have to account for him. You can't cheat. You have to account for him. Cam Akers had 1.8 yards per carry. I would disagree. They should run the ball more, but they should give it to Henderson. That too. Well, keep in mind, I mean, Jordan Fuller suffered a serious ankle injury. And, I mean, he might not be fully healthy yet, you know? Maybe he's not even fully, like, mentally ready for the game. I mean, you know, it was a brutal injury. You rehab all off season, sure, but it's not guaranteed you come back and you're the same. No, because look at what the soft coverage did, though. And it wasn't even that soft. Keep in mind, they played way softer coverage against the Cardinals. The Rams held the 49ers to 17 points. Their defense did, okay? That's a good day. Literally anybody should win when your team is only giving up 17 points and 12 points, etc. Like, they've been fine. Appreciate you, Ted. 254 people, 120 likes. Let's get to 200, folks. Come on. I know you got it in you. I know it. I know it because I got it in me to be here right now. 12:05 on the East Coast. You guys, it's probably, was it 9:05? Most of you, it's 9:05. Yeah, but Brian, this isn't going to be the personnel you see in the postseason. Like, you can't think for a second that the team you saw today is going to be the team you see in the postseason. The Rams have way too much riding on victories. They signed Stafford long term. They spent all those picks. They spent all that money on Aaron Donald. They need to win, and they know that. This will not be the personnel grouping that you see later on in the year. This is because of injuries. Remember that. They are battered with injuries. I mean, they have multiple starters out, multiple on both sides of the ball. It's not simple. You know, it's not simple to win games like that. It's not simple to just figure it out, you know? Of course he is. Not acceptable. He's got to, I mean, what, his 4th year in the league, he's got to be able to make that tackle. But do you know why he didn't? So, really good example. I'll show you on Wednesday when it comes up. I'll probably know what play it is. Stupid Gamecast doesn't give you the the breakdown of every play, but the play where you watch Grant Haley, he comes up to tackle George Kittle. He gets into a position, he goes like this, right? He goes to like wrap up. I love that. Grant Haley is the size of Jake Ellenbogen, okay? Obviously, way more athletic, but that's not the point. The point is he's like 5'8", 5'9". The fact that he isn't an ankle biter and just trying to swipe his legs and actually went to try to wrap up George Kittle, he did not get the tackle. But he slows Kittle down enough for another guy to get the tackle immediately. When you just dive at their legs and you miss. And that's what happened with Taylor Rapp. He missed. And he didn't slow him down at all, so Debo just blew by everybody. That is my thing. That is my biggest thing. That is why Rapp missed the tackle, because he was ankle biting instead of rapping. No pun intended. But, I mean, for real. Like, it's a real thing that I watch. I mean, stop diving at the legs. Stop trying to rip the ball out. I love when you rip the ball, but make sure you have the freaking tackle first. I mean, it's frustrating, man. Haley balled out, you know? I thought Darian Kendrick had some really nice stuff today. I mean, Darian Kendrick is growing, too. That's another positive here. This guy just gets thrown in there. Appreciate you, too, Brian. This guy just gets thrown in there, gets thrown in the Wolves. Hey, you haven't played all year? Well, you're going to be our starter. You're going to line up across from Marquise Brown. No, by the way, now you're going to line up across from Debo Samuel. Good luck. And Brandon Ayuk. And, I mean, the dude did a nice job. Is he perfect? No. He also played his second NFL game on the defensive side. He was a healthy scratch the first 2 games. So, Darian Kendrick has answered the bell. And he's not an uber athlete either. He ran like a 4.7 40. Whether he hurt his hammy or not, he's not much faster than that anyway. So the guy he can't take certain chances that he did in this game, but I've been impressed with him. Guys, once again, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I have plenty of Rams content if you're a Rams fan. Gonna have plenty throughout the week. We'll have more of those videos that you guys like. I know some of you are like, hey, I want to see more of those Allen Robinson, Sean McVay videos. We'll have more of those for sure. So definitely, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 15.6 K, which is cool. Getting closer to 16K. My goal is 20K by the end of the year. I know we can get there. But be sure to hit the like button. We have 139. I know we can get that way up. Get that to 200. Jake, with Stafford targeting Kupp so much, are you concerned with Kupp getting injured? He's getting beat up with all the hits he's taking and was slow to get up towards the end a little. Yeah, of course I am. I think there's always a risk because Kupp did have some injury issues early on in his career. So it's always a concern, always a concern. But as of right now, he does already have the confidence. Yeah, no, Darian Kendrick has looked really good. He really has. I mean, people won't give him his props, whatever. I will. He's looked really good for being just tossed in there. Appreciate you, Johnny. Appreciate you subbing. Yeah, subscriptions go a long way for the channel. So, yeah, channel that energy. Take it out on Dallas next week. I think it will. One way or another, whether it ends up being a trade of A-Rob or what, I think they'll figure it out. I don't think they'll trade him, but no, I still think it's too early. It's 4 games. You can be concerned. You can definitely be worried. But until I see, once I see Van Jefferson in this offense, I'll know. If Robinson is in this offense, Van Jefferson's in it, and Robinson's still doing nothing, even with that stretch over the top, then I'm going to start to make my assumptions that, okay, this just wasn't a good fit. And maybe that's the case, but if he's not a good fit, then it really gives OBJ reason to come here, because then OBJ can come in. He can start alongside Van and Cooper, and, Skoranek is your 4. I think that's pretty solid. A-Rob wasn't locked down every play. Stafford wasn't able to go through his progressions, but there was a few times he was too locked on to Kupp. Exactly. 100%. 100%. You are absolutely right. I mean, that's pretty much where we're at, He's trying to go through his progressions. I looked at one play. He's looking right at Skoranek. Skoranek's going to beat the guy, and then grabs his face mask, so Skoranek falls down, and then Stafford immediately looks over and throws it to Kupp. But, he was going to Skoranek on that play. I mean, he was looking at other guys. It's hard, and especially think about this. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. That chemistry there is unlike anything in the league right now. That's the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the sport. So when you are looking, you're getting constantly blitzed and you have no time to throw, you're probably going to be looking for him, because you know how important it is to extend these drives, and you trust a covered Cooper Kupp probably more than you trust some of the other receivers. And when you don't have a lot of time to throw, you just know Kupp's going to feel it, man. He's going to be there. He's going to be able to read the zone, find the soft spot. He's going to be that's kind of how I think that he's been going about it. It's frustrating, but I don't know. Maybe. You could absolutely be right. Maybe this isn't their year. Maybe it's 2024. And this is the year that they, Patriots didn't win every year during their dynasty, right? Maybe this is the year, but who knows, right? I mean, I still think they win it all because I believe in this team, and I believe that the injuries have been absolutely insane, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. That's the fun thing about it. The not so fun thing about it is waiting until Monday for this game to be played, and then always having a stinker like that. You don't like to see that. I agree. Good. Well, it wasn't really a great pass, so he was trying to turn up field, and yeah, just not a lot there. That wouldn't make any sense, Jake, because Van Jefferson is on a very cheap rookie deal for a second rounder. That's very affordable. The Rams it's not a cap issue with OBJ. Like, they can afford OBJ right now. It's not a cap issue. But it doesn't make any sense to trade Van because they have him cheap. That's why they traded away Brandon Cooks, because he wasn't cheap. And because Jared Goff couldn't get him the ball. That's also why. See, I don't buy into that, because he was visiting friends, and it doesn't count as a true official visit based on what I was hearing. He's not going to the Giants. The Giants flat out told him they weren't going to trade him, and then they traded him. So he will never go back there. He's visiting friends. He's having a good time. He's absolutely allowed to do that. It wasn't a free agent visit like Nolan's saying, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah, but think about as to why, though. I think I'm going to do something I've never done before. Because this is interesting. Because I disagree, but I'm not going to just tell you I disagree. I want to give my thoughts as to why I disagree. Like, actually, really, but I want to have the numbers in front of me. So let's look at this, right? Darrell Henderson has 2 games, 2 in his career, in which he's had at least 20 carries. That's 2. And he's played in 45 games. So he's had two 20-plus yard carry. Okay, 20-plus carry games. Now let's look at Cam Akers. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm doing something right now. Like I said, have never done this before. So let's just see here. So Cam Akers, game logs. Cam has 3 20-yard games. And, I mean, he hasn't played a lot, but think about this. Cam Akers has 3 20-yard games. A 20-carry game. Sorry, I keep saying yard. 20 carry games. He has 3 20-carry games in 17 games played. Darrell Henderson has 2 20-carry games in 43 games played. So the way I see it is that running backs need a rhythm, and Sean McVay has not given Henderson a rhythm. If Henderson ran 20 times a game, he'd probably be around 5 yards a carry. He'd probably have 100 yards. You know? I mean, let's go back to Henderson. He's had 2 games where he's had 20-plus carries. One game he went for 78 yards against the Giants. I was at that game. And then the other one was the Buffalo game 2 years ago. He went for 20 carries for 114 yards. That's 5.7 yards per carry and a touchdown. Interesting. Then you go to the third game. He had 17 carries against Seattle last year. Has 4.8 yards per carry, a touchdown, 17 for 82. Then the next game, game 4, he's got 16 carries against the Bears to start off the year. And he's got 16 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown, 4.3 yards per carry. Green Bay, they lose. He's got 16 carries for 55 yards. Probably the worst game at that point that I'm looking at so far. And everyone wanted him gone because everyone's like, Sony Michel's better. So then we look at game number 6, and this wasn't very good. I'll admit it. Like, Washington shut down Darrell Henderson. They had a really good defense. They shut him down. 15 carries for 38 yards. That's 2.5. And he found the touchdown. He actually found 2 touchdowns in that game, rushing and receiving. Then the 7th game against Chicago back in 2020, the 24-10 win. He went 15 for 63, 4.2 was his yards per carry. Against Detroit, he goes 15 for 45. Against San Francisco in 2020, he goes 14 for 88. In a game they lose 16-24. In San Francisco, they lose 24-16, and they stop running the ball with Henderson, who's averaging 6.2 yards per carry in a one-possession game. Interesting. It's almost like this has happened before. Oh, look at this. Arizona, 14 carries, 89 yards, 6.3 yards per carry average, and they lose by 17. Henderson against Houston. This was a big one last year. Henderson he can't run for 100 yards. He can't do it. Sony Michel was our first 100-yard rusher. Yada, yada, yada. Great. You don't think he would have run for 100 yards against Houston? He had 14 carries for 90 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, or 6.4 yards per carry, a touchdown receiving, and a touchdown rushing. Darrell Henderson against Indy, 13 carries, 53 yards, a touchdown. That's 4 yards per carry. Not great, but not bad. Darrell Henderson against the Bills. He had 13 carries this year, 47 yards. That's 3.6 yards per carry. Not great, but as you can see, it was hard to run against the Bills. How about, against Philly? Week 2 against Philly, when Cam Akers suffers the injury to his ribs, the torn rib cartilage or whatever, right? So, Week 2 of 2020 against Philly, they win 37-19. Darrell Henderson runs 12 carries for 81 yards. That's 6.7 yards per carry, and has a touchdown rushing. He only got 12 carries, but he was averaging 6.7 yards in a game that they won 37-19. So then, right? Then you go at Seattle. They lose 20-9 at Seattle, week 16. in 2020, Darrell Henderson, 12 carries, 62 yards, 517 yards per carry, and they stopped running the ball. My point, another one here, they lost 28-16 against Tennessee on Sunday Night Football, week 9 of last year. Darrell Henderson at 5.5 yards per carry, and they stopped running the ball. They abandoned the run. Miami, 2020, they lost 28-17. Darrell Henderson had 8 carries for 47 yards, which is 5.8 yards per carry. They stopped running the ball. They lost. Darrell Henderson against the 49ers back in 2019, 20-7 loss to the Niners. 6 carries for 39 yards. That's 6.5 yards per carry. Didn't run the ball with him. So explain this to me. Is Darrell Henderson, has he reached his ceiling? Has he been given too much of a chance? Or is this a guy that hasn't been given enough of a chance? Because I think if you look at the game-by-game stats, he has not been given enough of a chance. And Cam Akers, early on in his career, I understand he had the injury, but he got 29 carries against the Patriots for 171 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. Darrell Henderson has never gotten that. Here are Cam Akers. So, by the way, Cam Akers, like I said, had 3 games of over 20 yards or 20 carries, right? The 29 carry game is insane. He had 171 yards, bad defense, but he had 171 yards rushing. You can't knock him for that. That's 5.9. And then, how about this, guys? Week 13 against Arizona, Cam Akers, 21 carries, 72 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. He also fumbled at the goal line. How about the Jets game? Not the Jets game, the Cardinals game. Both Cardinals games. So in 2020, both Cardinals games, he had 20-plus carries, and he went 3.4 in one game, and then 1.6 yards per carry. He ran 21 times for 34 yards. 15 for 63, which is solid for 4.2. Against Atlanta this year, 15 carries for 44 yards. That's not even 3 yards per carry. Dallas, 2020, 14 carries for 39 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. Arizona, 12 carries for 61 yards this year. That was 5.8 yards per carry, 5.50 yards per carry at a touchdown. Seattle, 23-16 win in 2020. 10 carries for 38 yards. That's 3.8. Darrell Henderson has had bigger games and just has been abandoned. And I'm not going to act like he doesn't get hurt and why they're trying to manage his carries, but this is also Cam Akers, who has suffered a torn Achilles and who has also dealt with injuries on his own right. Yeah, but ceiling is just another way of saying this guy might be good. This guy might do something. You are in the pinnacle of a division race now against the 49ers. You don't want mites. Okay? You don't want mites. You want guys that can do it now. You want I will, and I am doing it, right? Not I might. So that's my biggest knock, is that I don't think Akers is a bad running back. But clearly, it's this, he's got a bigger ceiling, he's better than Henderson. The stats don't show that. The film doesn't show that. And once again, here we are talking about a game where Henderson only had 7 carries. And we're talking, oh, well, he only had 3.9 yards per carry. Yeah, but the guy that you're telling me who should have been playing more, Cam Akers, had 8 for 13, so he had 1.6 yards per carry. So you definitely don't want to trade Cam Akers because you don't have any depth behind Akers. You have Malcolm Brown, who we'll see where he is, but I don't think he's the Malcolm Brown we remember in 2020. I'm sure he's fallen a little bit off, but Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, plus, exactly, Darren. It really comes down to that. Henderson's a better blocker. I know we keep doing this debate, but I keep telling you. I've said it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? The run game is very important, and the Rams are neglecting it. They're not running the ball enough with Henderson. They are literally ignoring the run. They have literally abandoned the run in close games under Sean McVay since 2020. There are multiple games to prove that. I just went through with Henderson. You know, if you're having success, 5 yards per carry is above average. 6, 7, those guys should be in. There's no reason why you should stop running the ball when you're averaging 6+ yards per carry. There's none. So, and the Stafford thing, for people getting on Stafford, let me just make something clear here, okay? Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, put whoever you want, put your favorite quarterback in at quarterback for the Rams tonight, behind that offensive line. I don't think any of them win that game. I don't. So you can blame Stafford all you want, but I mean, I still can't believe we're blaming Stafford for the loss. I don't really know what you want him to do, It's like... I don't think so. I love Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers would have won that game. Rodgers can't beat the Niners either. Rodgers couldn't beat the Niners in Lambeau. As much as I love Rodgers, Rodgers barely beat Bailey Zappi. I mean, and he's got a good offensive line. Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying all throughout the week. Kyle Shanahan loves running the ball. It's his identity. His team takes on that identity. They ran 22 times today, and still that probably is way fewer than he wanted to run. Ran for 4 yards per carry. Not great, but still ran the ball. Garoppolo threw 27 times. Stafford threw 48 times. They ran the ball 18 times. The game was a one-possession game for the most part the entire game. So, I love Sean McVay. I really do. But it's so apparent at this point in time that he wants to be pass happy. Let me make this clear. Until you get Van Jefferson back, you need the run game. It's that simple. You need to be able to run the ball. You should run the ball anyway, because in order to set up your play action that you love running so much, you need to run the ball. There wasn't a ton of creativity, and I get it. The offensive line struggled, but why is we're getting one run from Brandon Powell? I mean, we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll watch this on Wednesday, go through it, but very frustrating game. Yeah, he's not in love with the run. I can tell you that. Cole, because the way you worded that, you definitely know what I mean. He's not in love with the run. He's run the ball. He ran it 18 times against the Niners. He ran it 20 against the Cardinals. Let's look. 20 against the Cardinals. He ran it 26 times against the Falcons. But Cam Akers still had 5 more carries than Darrell Henderson, despite the fact he was below 3 yards per carry in that game. And then the Bills, I think he pretty much abandoned the run. But, I mean, that was a blowout game. I'm not going to hold that against him. Yeah, they ran 18 times. So, I mean, he's got it. I don't know. And the thing that's really confusing to me is that if you like Henderson, you like Cam so much, Why are they not on the same field at the same time? How is it that we're now into what, almost 2 years with this channel, and I've been clamoring for dual back set since Todd Gurley in 2017? Like, how have we still not seen that? How have we still not seen a dual backfield? We still have not seen Akers and Henderson on the same field together. How have we not seen that? I don't... How does Sean McVay not use that? That's mind-blowing to me. It's got to be in the playbook. He's mentioned it multiple times. Maybe you start to see those two. I'm like, all right, well, when are we going to? Well, I get the fullback thing because the problem is when you have the fullback, they're lined up closer to the quarterback. So when the fullback comes in, the quarterback goes back to pass, the fullback gets pushed into the quarterback. It's just a easier way. You know what I mean? Like the offensive line, if it's getting pushed backwards, the lead blocker doesn't help. It doesn't help you in pass pro. It's kind of tough, honestly. So I get why they stopped using the fullback in the second half. But they definitely just abandoned the run. Once again, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up on this video if you like this video, or if you're upset that the Rams lost. How about that? If you are pissed that the Rams lost this game and you are just so upset and, you know, you're just mad and you hate the Niners, any of that, hit the thumbs up. Thumbs up if you hate the Niners or you're pissed off the Rams lost. If you're a Niner fan, I'm sorry. I got to give some incentive here to hit the thumbs up or whatever you want to call it. You're right. It was right there, and it's frustrating, and this is probably one of the least... Like, I've been looking forward to doing this the least, probably, coming from this game. It's been a lot of fun talking with you guys and getting my thoughts out there, but I am frustrated. Yep, they blitzed heavy. They didn't even have to send a four-man rush. They still blitzed heavy, and they took advantage of the fact. I mean, do we think this is a completely... Actually, let me ask you this, okay? Do we think this game is completely different if Coleman Shelton does not get hurt? If Coleman Shelton is healthy, how different is this game? I do think that had a massive impact. And I don't even think Cologne played that bad. But Coleman Shelton being out was just a huge blow. That's another thing. Yeah, and that could have been avoided too. That pissed me off. It's true. I agree with that. Oh, I definitely agree. And, you know, another thing, very simple here. You know, when you look at everything, okay? We talk about the injuries, talk about it's week 4. You're comparing so-and-so to so, like, just be happy of Matthew Stafford at quarterback. This could be a lot worse. Like, if you guys have been following the Rams since St. Louis, like, this was just expected. You didn't go into these games thinking you would win. You were hoping you might win, but you were never thinking you were going to win. The Super Bowl? No. Playoffs. Let's not forget how that may seem a lot like way far away, but you got to appreciate Matthew Stafford. The throws he made today, Jared Goff's not making. The times he held on to the ball, getting sacked 7 times, Jared Goff would have fumbled the ball probably 4 out of those 7. So the comparisons to Jared Goff and all that, the Lions are 1-3. I like them, and Lions fans here, I'm rooting for you guys because you guys are pretty awesome to me and my channel and the team. But, I mean, they would say the same thing. As great as Goff's look at times, Goff is still a limited quarterback. Come on now. Come on now. Jared Goff wouldn't have thrown a pick six? I don't know. I think he would have. He always struggled against the 49ers. Exactly. Like, it sucks. Yes, you don't win. Great, I get it, but Matthew Stafford, you have him next week against the Dallas Cowboys. Is it going to be a battle? Yeah. Cowboys defense is tough. But, I mean, they're not unbeatable. Whether Dak plays or Cooper Rush plays, I don't care. They're not unbeatable. So, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff threw a really costly interception against the Seahawks that kind of put them in that driver's seat. 100%. Yeah, that was bizarre. Agreed. Maybe. I don't know. I still think he comes back to the Rams, and I think the Bills can kick rocks. Oh, man. That's not why he's throwing deep down the field, or why he's not throwing deep down the field. He's not throwing deep down the field because he hears the complaints about the interceptions, and he's trying to correct it. And then when you have offensive linemen coming at you, you can't afford to have 5-7 step dropbacks. By the way, you need to have 5 to 7 step dropbacks if you want to go deep down the field. 3-step does not give enough time for the wide receivers to go deep down the field and set up those routes. So you don't have enough time. The offensive line gets healthy, you have enough time, the deep ball's back, Van Jefferson's healthy, the deep ball's back. A lot of different variables. This is the good thing, okay? Let me just leave you with this. The Rams appear to be in trouble, right? Doesn't look great. Was week 4. And luckily, a lot of what their issues are, they can be easily corrected. I think the defense is ahead of where a lot of people would have expected at this point in the season. It may be annoying defense. You may not like their scheme or whatever. It's working. The offense has once again failed. 20 points last week, 9 points this week. The good news is there's a lot of talent on this offense. There's a lot of injuries. This team's going to get healthy. They've already shown you they can win games without 3 of their top 4 corners. So those guys will come back. I'm telling you, there's some good out of this. If they're having their November early, so be it. They'll rip off win after win. If they're not, it's going to be a battle. But, that's true. It does feel like the pass rush wasn't. But at the same time, Jimmy Garoppolo has one of the quickest triggers in all of football. Guy gets rid of the ball like crazy. So keep that in mind. I mean, he's getting rid of the ball quickly. It's not really that the pass rush isn't good. I don't think it's as good as last year at all. But it almost, because they're not getting as much pressure, basically the job that Raheem Morris is doing, considering that, has been impressive to me. I still don't know why this team didn't try and kick tires with Zadarius Smith, but that's just me. So I'm not worried about Tutu. He made no sense to be activated in this. They felt like they needed Malcolm Brown. They didn't end up running the ball, but I actually liked the usage of Malcolm Brown, using him. I didn't like the way they used him, but I liked using him. And Tutu is hand-holding at this point because he hasn't gotten an opportunity to really get involved, and there's no confidence there. I'm not saying Tutu doesn't have confidence, but I'm saying there's nothing to really build on. And you look at the Bills game, and you're like, I don't want to throw this guy in there, put him into a bad situation where, there's a tipped ball in the air, interception or something. So I'll just hold on to him. I'll keep him on inactive, let him just breathe a little bit, healthy scratch, let him watch the game, and then we'll give him a shot maybe next week, I think it had more to do about the game plan and less to do about Tutu Atwell himself. He was. Oh, God, painful. Pretty much. The 49ers go out of their way to beat the Rams, but then they couldn't beat them when it mattered, so I still love that. I don't care if that's a 27 World Series by the Yankees argument. I don't care. I still enjoy being able to use it. I think Justin Hollins is a good player, so, there's not really much else to say at this point. I haven't really seen a ton out of Terrell Lewis has shown you some things for sure, but this game, no one really exploded. Guys, once again, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you are pissed off that your team lost. Also, hit the thumbs up button if you are happy that the rioter or whatever, protester, got decked by Bobby Wagner tonight. Wouldn't be against it. Try something new. I will say, it does kind of throw everything off a cliff. Your whole argument, Lance McCutcheon this, Lance McCutcheon that, can't do this, can't do that. It does throw that all off the cliff when you're not winning games now. I think you can start potentially giving Lance McCutcheon some snaps. That's just my thought process. Yeah, that was not good by Tack. Yes. Aiming for same time, late night Wednesday. We'll have the NFL preview. Hopefully that weird thing doesn't happen again. NFL preview. A lot of stuff coming out tonight, this week. I got to get some rest for sure because I'm feeling it, man. I am exhausted. But we got tomorrow, we're going to be recording the I can't even talk right now. The Believe in Rams podcast. Alexis and I are going to be recording the Downtown Rams podcast. We'll be doing the Rams Edge. We'll bring that back this week. Last week was brutal for me. Just so much going on. So I did not do any call-in shows. We'll do one this week. And then I'll probably be going on some shows as well. So look out for that. And we'll have our NFL show on Wednesday. I think it's 7:30 Eastern. And then we have Wednesday, we're going to have the tape watching session. Next week might be a little different. So that's this week, this upcoming week. Next week, my birthday is coming up. My brother, shout out to my brother, Tyler Ellenbogen. He got me New York Yankees playoff tickets, so I'm going to be seeing the Yankees versus I don't even know who they're going to play yet. So I'll be seeing them at the stadium on Tuesday next week. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Thursday, I'm going to a show with my sister for her birthday. So a lot of stuff going on next week, not this week. Like the 11th, the week with the October 11th, that's my birthday. I turned 27. Growing up so fast. So just to give you the lowdown, that's how it's going to go. But you guys, thank you, Century. Appreciate you. You guys let me know if you have anybody in mind that you think that I should go after to be a guest on any of the podcasts. Drop a comment below. Be sure to also hit that like button. Be sure to also hit that subscribe button. And be sure, if you're on mobile, to hit that bell icon because you'll never miss another video notification again. Goes right to your phone, pushes right to your phone, so be sure to do that. We're at 180 likes, all right? Let's see if we can get to 200 before I leave. That's 20 more. Like this if you do not like the 49ers. Kind of reverse there. Like this if you want to see Andrew Whitworth come back. Like this if you want to see OBJ come back. Oh, that's a good one. Would love to get Holt on. Well, Nolan is always he basically will be my co-host on was it Rams Edge and MCU Edge. He knows that. Bob Waterfield, it's gonna be a little hard. Jim Everett, that's my guy. I definitely have to get him on. $15 more, folks. Let's get it up. Like this if you think the Rams are going to win next week against Dallas. Oh, got 2 more. 13 more. Like this if you're going to see Halloween Ends next week when it comes out. Like this if you're a Michael Myers fan. Like this if you're a Spider-Man fan. Like this if you're a Jake Ellenbogen fan. Probably should have started with that one. Oh, okay, we're getting more. 11 more. Fred Dreyer, that would be cool. Vince Ferragamo also would be cool. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, I got to get Tori on. Smack that like button. Nolan just tells it like it is. Just smack that. God, I got to get my man Charles Davis back on the show. Would love it. Got to check in on him. It's been a minute. He's been on my show a couple times. Steve Weish, I got to get him on. Got to bring more guests on. Got to do that. Eight more likes. Like this if you think the Rams still win the Super Bowl and repeat. Wow, nobody liked it. All right, like this if Aaron Donald is the GOAT. Who took away their like? I saw that. I said Aaron Donald is the GOAT and someone took away their like. What is that all about? Well, people are still taking away their likes, so what's going on? Bruh. All right, anyway. Well, we might get to 200. Bummer. Danny Trejo would be cool. Big game. Yeah. I would like to get Quentin Lake back on DTR. That would be cool. Cromwell would be amazing because he was a Jayhawk and a Ram. So we have that in common. I mean, I'm a Jayhawk fan and a Rams fan. Boss Level. Is that a movie? I feel like that's a movie. Yep. There we go. 200 likes. All right. Oh, man. You guys never let me down. Like the video. James Laurinaitis. Oh man, I might do that tomorrow. I might do that tomorrow. I mean, I got a lot of recording to do, but normally Thursdays are like my dead days. But man, I might do it tomorrow. Now my chair's all messed up. There we go. Or not. I think I just broke my chair. That's a bummer. It's the second one I've broken. All right, folks. I love y'all, and I will see you guys tomorrow in some capacity with my content. We'll be recording Believe in Rams. We'll be recording Downtown Rams. We'll be recording Rams Edge. So a lot of Rams stuff. Also have a Jets Steelers post game that I want to do. So got to do all that. But I definitely need to see Smile. That's what I need to do. So I love you guys. Thank you for being awesome, Eric, and everyone else. I'm losing my voice now. So that's been it. So Downtown Rams, Rams Edge, and Believe in Rams podcast. You guys take care, and I will see you guys soon. Later, folks.